You have probably been told that a full home is a warm home, that the shelves should be lined, the counters should be lived on, the closets should be generous. I believed a version of that too. Then I started spending time in the homes of older Japanese women who were sleeping better, worrying less, and moving through their days with a kind of ease I did not have. And what struck me was not what was in those homes. It was what was missing. There were 13 things, roughly, that kept not being there. And once I noticed the pattern, I could not stop seeing it. So the first one is the one you will feel the moment you walk in. There is no wall of furniture. The floor is mostly clear. In the home of a woman named Emiko Tashiro, who is 84 and lives alone in Kurashiki, near the old canal district, the main room has a low table, 2 cushions, and open floor. No overstuffed sofa, no bulky bed frame taking half the room. The mattress, a futon, folds away into a cupboard every morning, and the room becomes a room again. I want to walk you through all 13, because by the end, you are going to be able to look around your own home and find at least 3 of them in the next 10 minutes. Get something to write with. These are not expensive changes. Most of them are things you remove, not things you buy. Let me tell you where I started, because I started wrong. When I first went looking into this, I assumed the answer was tidiness, that Japanese homes just looked neater. I thought it was aesthetic, a matter of taste, the way a magazine spread is neat. It was not that. It took me longer than it should have to see what it actually was. These women were not keeping their homes clear because it looked nice. They were keeping them clear because of what a full home was doing to them, quietly, every single day. And there is a name in Japan for the practice of getting there. It is Danshari. A woman named Hideko Yamashita gave it that name in a book in 2009. The word is built from 3 characters. Dan, to refuse what you do not need coming in. Sha, to let go of what is already here. Rai, to step away from the craving to own in the first place. Refuse, release, separate. It is not about owning as little as possible for its own sake. It is about keeping only what earns its place. Yamashita did not invent that idea out of nowhere. She built it from something she learned young, from yoga. 3 ideas about refusing, discarding, and separating from your own attachments. The word caught fire in Japan. In 2010, it was nominated for the country's New Word of the Year. But the reason it spread was not that it was clever. It was that it named something people already felt in their bodies, that the stuff was not neutral, that every object you own is also owning a little piece of you, a little of your attention, your upkeep, your low-grade guilt. Once you feel that, you cannot unfeel it. You start to see your home as a set of small, ongoing relationships, and you realize you are in 100 of them you never chose. Here is the part that changed my mind, and I want to give you the actual research, because I do not want you to take my word for it. In 2010, 2 researchers at the University of California in Los Angeles, Darby Saxby and Rena Rapetti, published a study of 60 households. They had people walk through their own homes and describe them, and they measured the language, and then they measured the people's cortisol, the stress hormone, across the following days. And the finding was specific. The women, in particular, whose language described their homes as cluttered and unfinished, had a flatter daily cortisol rhythm. Flatter is not good. A healthy stress hormone rises in the morning and falls at night. Theirs stayed stuck. The profile you see with worse health and worse mood. The women who described their homes as restful and restorative had the healthier pattern. Same house, doing 2 different things to 2 different nervous systems. I had to read that twice before it landed. The clutter was not just sitting there. It was talking to their bodies all day long, and it hit the women harder than the men. That is the audience I make these videos for. So that number stayed with me. I want to sit on why it hits women harder, because Saxby has been clear about it. It is not that women are more bothered by mess. It is that in most homes, women are the ones holding the home in their heads, the running list of what needs doing, what is running low, what is unfinished. Researchers sometimes call it the mental load, and a cluttered home turns the volume of that list all the way up. Every unfinished corner is another open item the mind will not put down. So the clutter is not only what you see, it is the low hum of unfinished tasks it broadcasts all day, mostly to the woman of the house. When Emiko cleared her home, she was not chasing a magazine look. She was turning that hum down. And once I understood it that way, I stopped seeing a clear counter as a matter of taste. I started seeing it as a matter of rest. If you had to guess which one thing changed first in a home that got this right, what would you guess? Hold that guess. We will come back to it. Because the second thing these homes never keep follows straight from the study. They do not keep things out of guilt. The gift from a relative that you never liked, the set of dishes from a wedding 2 marriages of the family ago, the sweater someone knit that itches. In most homes I have been in, a quarter of what is kept out of obligation, and every one of those objects sends a small pulse of low-grade guilt every time you see it. Emiko put it plainly to a neighbor. She said, "I do not owe a teacup my whole shelf." The permission she gives herself, and that I want to give you, is this: you are allowed to keep the love and release the object. The person who gave it to you does not live inside the thing. Let me take you through Emiko's home in the morning, because it will make all of this concrete. She wakes, and the first thing she does is fold the futon and slide it into the cupboard, so the bedroom becomes a sitting room by the time the kettle boils. The floor is bare wood and cool underfoot. There is nothing on the low table but the one flower and, some mornings, a single sheet of paper she is dealing with before she does anything else. The counters in the kitchen are clear, except for the pot she is using right now. When she is done, it is washed, dried, and put away, not left to sit. By the time the light is full in the room, there is not a single object out that is not being used or loved at that moment. She is 84, she lives alone, and it takes her almost no effort, because the effort was spent years ago in the deciding. What is left is just the living. The third thing they never keep is the plastic bins. And this one surprised me, because storage looks like the solution. It is not. Yamashita is sharp about this. She says storage furniture, the bins and the organizers and the closet systems, is often just a way to hide the decision you have not made. You are not keeping the clutter. You are paying to store it and dusting it and moving around it. In these Japanese homes, there was very little of that. Fewer bins, not more, because the bin is where things go to be forgotten and never chosen again. If you have a closet full of storage boxes you have not opened in a year, that is not organization. That is a decision, still waiting. The fourth thing is the pile of paper, the mail, the receipts, the manuals, the warranties, the flyers, the stack on the kitchen counter that grows and gets shuffled and never shrinks. In Emiko's home, there was one small tray, and it was nearly empty. The rule she keeps is that paper touches her hands once. It is dealt with, filed, or thrown out the day it arrives, not set down to become a mountain. The counter is not a filing cabinet, and I noticed something about that clear counter. It was the first thing you saw, and it set the whole tone of the room. A clear surface where you first look is worth more to your morning than you would think. The whole system is one tray and one rule. Everything that comes in the door on paper lands in the tray, and the tray is emptied every day or two, never allowed to become the pile. Bills paid or written on the calendar, anything you do not need, straight to the bin by the door. What is left, the few things worth keeping, filed the same day. It is not more work than the pile. It is less. The pile is where the work hides and multiplies. The fifth thing they never keep is a crammed pantry. This one runs against everything the wellness world tells older people, which is to stock up, to buy in bulk, to have a full larder. These women shopped small and often. The refrigerator was not packed. The shelves held what would be eaten this week, not this season. Part of that is the Japanese habit of fresh, daily food. But part of it is that a packed pantry hides expired food, forgotten food, food you feel guilty for not eating. A lean pantry you can see is a pantry you actually use. Nothing rots in the back of a shelf you can see to the back of. There is a rhythm under this worth stealing. These women shopped small and often, a little fresh food every few days, rather than one giant haul that half spoils. It sounds less efficient. It is actually the opposite, because nothing is wasted, nothing is forgotten, and the short walk to the shop is movement and a little contact with the world, both of which this audience needs. A lean kitchen is not deprivation. It is the same food, bought closer to when you actually eat it. The sixth thing is old medicine and half-used bottles. Walk into most bathrooms and open the cabinet, and you will find expired pills, dried-out creams, 3 bottles of the same thing, samples from a decade ago. In the Japanese bathrooms I saw, the cabinet held what was current and nothing else. And there is a real safety reason under the tidiness. Expired medicine is not just clutter. It can be a genuine hazard, and a cabinet full of it is a cabinet where you cannot quickly find the one thing you need. Clear it. Keep what is current. That is a 20-minute job with a real payoff. The 7th thing they never keep is the single-use gadget, the machine that only makes one thing, the special slicer, the novelty appliance, the tool you bought for one recipe in 1998. Japanese kitchens, even in homes that cook beautifully every day, tend to run on a few good, versatile tools. One good knife, one good pot, a cutting board. The counter is not colonized by plastic devices that each do one job badly. When you buy a thing that does one thing, you are also buying the space it takes, the cleaning it needs, and the small, daily friction of moving it aside. Fewer, better, is the whole idea. I got something else wrong at the start, and it is worth telling you. I thought decluttering was an event, a hard weekend, a pile of bags to the donation center, and then it is done forever. That is not how any of these women live. For them, it is not an event. It is a small, daily habit, closer to washing a dish than to a spring cleaning. One drawer, one shelf, one decision. The reason their homes stay clear is not that they had one heroic purge. It is that nothing is allowed to pile up in the first place, because the small releases happen constantly, almost invisibly. That reframed the whole thing for me. You are not looking for a free weekend. You are looking for 5 minutes, most days. Now, I told you I would come back to your guess. The thing that usually changes first, in my experience, is none of the dramatic ones. It is the surfaces, which brings me to the 8th thing they never keep, and it is the one with the deepest roots in Japanese life. They do not keep every surface decorated. In a traditional Japanese room, there is an alcove called the tokonoma, and the whole point of it is that it holds one thing, one scroll, or one flower, changed with the season. One, the beauty comes from the emptiness around it. Most of our homes do the opposite. Every shelf, every windowsill, every side table carries 10 small objects, and because everything is decorated, nothing is seen. Emiko keeps one flower on the low table and a clear space around it, and that single stem gets more attention than a whole shelf of ornaments ever could. Try it on one surface, clear it completely, put back one thing you love, and notice how the room exhales. If you want the full version of what I am describing, the way these women structure the morning and the evening around a calm, clear home, I gathered it into 2 small books, one for the morning and one for the evening. If you would like to keep them by the bed, the link is in the description below this video. And if you are watching on your television, there is a code on the screen. Your phone camera will read, and it will open the page for you. That is all I will say about it. Let me get back to the list. because the last 5 are the ones that change the most. The 9th thing they never keep is the broken thing waiting to be fixed. The lamp with the bad cord, the chair with the wobble, the appliance that half works. Every one of those is a small open loop in your mind, a tiny, unfinished task you step over 100 times. In these homes, a broken thing was either mended within the week or it was gone, not stored in the garage under the banner of someday. Someday is where objects go to weigh on you for free. Fix it this week or release it. Either one closes the loop. Both are better than the limbo. The 10th thing is the pile of shoes at the door. Now, in Japan, the entry, the Gen-Con, is where shoes come off, so you might expect a heap. It is the opposite. The Gen-Con is kept deliberately clear, usually 1 pair out per person, the rest put away. And there is a logic to it that goes beyond neatness. The entry is the first thing you see coming home and the last thing you see leaving. A clear entry greets you with calm. A pile of shoes greets you with a small mess before you have even taken off your coat. The threshold sets the mood. Keep it clear. The 11th thing they never keep is the wardrobe you do not wear. The closet stuffed with clothes from 3 sizes and 2 decades, most of it untouched in years, kept for the body you used to have or the life you used to lead. These women kept a smaller wardrobe of things that fit and that they actually wore. And I will be honest that this is the hardest one, because clothes carry memory. But a closet you have to fight through every morning is a small, daily defeat before the day even starts. If it has not been worn in a year, and it is not deeply loved, it is not your wardrobe. It is your wardrobe storage unit. The Japanese way to keep it that way is quiet and simple. 1 in, 1 out. When something new comes into the closet, something old leaves. The closet never grows past what fits, because the door was closed to overflow in the first place, which is the Dan, the refusing, at the very front of the house. If you do nothing else with your clothes this year, try that one rule for a season and watch the morning fight disappear. The 12th thing is the duplicate, the just in case, 2nd and 3rd of everything. 3 pairs of scissors, because you can never find one. 4 half-empty bottles of the same lotion. A drawer of pens, most of them dead. Duplicates feel like security. Mostly they are just clutter that reproduces. Keep one good one where you can find it, and you will actually find it, which is the thing the 3 scissors never delivered. And the 13th thing is the one I want to treat gently, because it is the heaviest. They do not keep the past piled around them. This is not about throwing away what matters. It is about the difference between a few cherished things and a house that has become a museum of a life that is over. The boxes never opened. The room kept exactly as it was. The closet of a person who is gone, untouched for years. Emiko lost her husband 11 years ago. She kept his reading glasses and 1 photograph and his favorite cup out where she can see them, loved, and she let the rest go, slowly, when she was ready. She told me the small shrine of a few things brought him close, and the boxes in the spare room only brought the loss. I am not telling anyone to rush this. Grief has its own clock. I am telling you that when you are ready, you are allowed to keep the person and release the storage. A few things, out and loved, hold more than a whole room kept as a tomb. If that day comes for you, here is the gentlest version I know, and it came from watching these women. You do not decide all at once. You choose the few things that truly hold the person, the glasses, the 1 photograph, the cup, and you put those out where you will see them and be glad. Everything else waits. And when you are ready, months or years later, you go through the rest slowly, keeping a small box, not a spare room. The goal is never to erase them. It is to carry them lightly enough that you can still live. A shrine of a few loved things keeps someone close. A house frozen in time mostly keeps you stuck. So which of these 2 could you start today? Not someday, today. The clear counter, or the shelf with 1 flower on it. Pick the one that is easiest, not the one that is most impressive, because the easy one is the one you will actually do, and the doing is what changes the cortisol number, not the intention. I want to be fair about the limits here. The Saxby study was 60 homes, and it shows a correlation, not a cure. A clear home will not fix a hard life, and I would never pretend it does. There is newer work, a study just last year on home clutter and mental well-being that adds a gentle wrinkle. It suggests what matters is not raw minimalism, but whether the home feels beautiful and restful to the person living in it, which means the goal was never a bare, cold house. It was a home that gives your nervous system somewhere to rest. Emptier is only better up to the point where the room feels like yours. I keep coming back to the thing Yamashita said that reframed all of it for me. Danshari is not about the objects. It is about your relationship to them, the refuse, the release, the stepping back from wanting. The 13 things are just where that relationship becomes visible. The clear floor, the empty surface, the closet you can breathe in. None of it costs money. Most of it is a series of small decisions you have been putting off, and every one you make gives a little of the day back to you. So, let me hand you the practical version, the way to actually begin, because knowing the 13 things is useless if you do not know where to put your hands. Start with one flat surface, not a whole room, the kitchen counter, or one shelf. Clear it completely, every object off, and then put back only what you love or use, and let the rest go into a box by the door. That is the first surface, and it takes 10 minutes. Second, the one-touch rule for paper, starting with today's mail. It gets dealt with, filed, or thrown out the moment it is in your hands, and never set down to become a stack. Third, the 20-minute cabinet, the bathroom one, where you pull everything out, throw away anything expired, and put back only what is current, and keep a single box by your front door all week. And any object you pass that you do not love or use goes in it, and at the end of the week, the box leaves the house. None of this is a heroic weekend. It is a handful of small decisions spread across ordinary days. That is Danshari, not a purge, a habit. Here is my honest question for you, and I would love the answer in the comments. For those of you who have cleared even one drawer, one shelf, one surface, did the difference show up where you expected? In the room, or somewhere you did not expect? In your sleep, your mood, the way the morning felt? I have a guess. I want to hear if I am right. Start with one surface, clear it completely, put back one thing you love. That is the whole beginning, and it is waiting for you in the next room. I will see you in the next one.